I have. Let's see. I'm gonna get two because we're running up on time. So I'm gonna give you maybe two more questions. So this first one, this is from Justin Average Jess, and this I want you guys to think about this in terms of the concept itself. So Justin Average Jess one. Do you ever feel jealous of people who believe in heaven? Kind of we kind of talked about this a little earlier in terms of it would be nice to see your grandparents and blah blah blah. Do you ever in those moments where you're like, God, it would be so nice? Do you ever get jealous? And I don't know if jealous is the right word, but you see where I'm going with that. You ever have those flights of fancy? It's kind of almost like winning the lottery. Do you ever think about that? Ever think that would be really nice if I believe that?
Only if heaven was like the way the Cat Kerr said it was. Cat Kerr, with her pink hair, bless her heart, said that heaven was basically a big ass amusement park. It had
Mm-hmm.
roller coasters. It had, merry-go-rounds. It had concession stands that you can get whatever type of sweets that you wanted for free. So like, yeah, if heaven was a big, amusement park, sure.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, well, yeah. You guys go ahead and work on that
I
question.
think it would dull your brain. I think we do need a little bit of stressors in our life to have some challenge, something to work towards, some challenges or something like that. So, in that sense, I mean, heaven wouldn't be perfect then, right? That would be somebody's version of heaven. Maybe wouldn't be a heaven because that version of heaven wouldn't be perfect.
It would
Right. Say
be
that
the
again. Sorry.
destination. It would be the destination that you will go to because
Yeah,
of the strife that you have faced
yeah,
upon this earth. Another reason why I would not worship the Lord, because that was actually also preached to us as a people. We can go ahead and actually say, hey, yeah, I know shitty things are shitty on this earth right now, but if you go to heaven, you'll be cool.
mm, yeah.
So Jose, say that again because I want to make sure I fully understood what you
No,
meant.
well, so there's a podcast that I really like. It's called Fall of Civilizations by his last name is Cooper. I can't remember his first name. He's this English guy, and it's basically just going over like all these civilizations that have fallen. Talks a little bit about what gave rise to some of these civilizations, and one of the things that gave rise to these civilizations, what made us human, in other words, is that we found ourselves in Mesopotamia, and there was kind of a niche there where it wasn't the environment wasn't so hard, right? So
Mm-hmm.
hard for people that they couldn't, kind of develop, higher learning and understanding. But it was harsh enough to where people had to invent things like agriculture and build all kind of ditches and rerouting all the water systems so they can irrigate their plants and stuff like that. So it's kind of like there's a little niche there in between. I think, to me, I think if we're going to keep having interesting, excuse me, it would have to contain some of those elements so that when we get there, we're like, okay, there's some work to do. Okay, I got something to do, and you got something to, not something so hard that it would be hell, but something still that would kind of challenge you and it would still keep you like engaged. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I completely see you just being a complete, I mean, if everything's spoon fed and given to you and you get there and you can just pick cotton candy and go on your roller coaster ride. I mean, we really would start to look like all these sitcoms and like the Simpsons, like Homer Simpson, right? It would be like, oh, we're having fun. I mean,
I think I
that's my
understand what
vision
you
of what we
mean.
would evolve into, right? In heaven.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. There's the obstacles, like you said, as long as they're not so great that we can't overcome them,
Mm-hmm.
but the overcoming of things gives us the pleasure and the appreciation for that. You know what I mean? Like how if my life is great, it's only great because I overcame when it wasn't great.
Yeah.
If it's always been perfect, like you're a cat, and my cat that lays around my house doing nothing all day, she doesn't have
Yeah.
to hunt for anything. She's not in
Yeah.
fear of anything. She gets fed. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
come on, that's not really that interesting or exciting. You never feel. I would think you wouldn't really feel overly pleasure because what is pleasure if it's your constant state, right?
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
cats are in heaven as we speak.
Yeah,
Those didn't make it
Um,
to heaven.
I
yeah. Go
I
ahead,
don't. I
Larry.
think it's all perspective, like the heaven that Cynthia was describing a little while ago. Um, with the concessions, is the person working the concessions actually in their hell, or is it like Jose said that they're doing
Carney hell.
something? Yeah,
Mhm.
that they're there doing a task that will make them, live in heaven. And I always go whenever I hear this question, the first thing that always pops in my mind is Jim Jeffries' stand-up comedian take on this, where he said it seems to him that it would not be a very nice place to be because, sure, you might see your grandma and everything, and you head to the light and start greeting the past relatives that you've had, and one of them he goes, "Oh, hello, uncle who touched me." I mean, if he accepts Jesus, he's going to be there. And is that heaven? No, I don't know. Well, it's I think it's kind of a useless exercise.
Yeah. Remember heaven. I think heaven is going to be, if there is a heaven that exists just like that, where it's like eternity and you're in like eternal bliss. Remember that's going to be a little bit like Groundhog Day. Every single day is going to look exactly the same.
Everything in moderation.
Boring.
Boring. If your job is running the concession stand or running the...
I would be jealous if it was better sci-fi. Like, I don't know, Star Wars would be real. That would be cool.
That would be... No, Jasmine, no. Star Trek.
Star Wars?
Okay. Star Trek. Also acceptable, better option than heaven.
Yeah,
for sure.
I just think you're going to get insanely good at whatever you do, even if it's the hardest task in the world. If you have eternity to
you're right.
You're just going to get good, and at some point, that's just going to be like your reflex. You're not even thinking about it, and if you're not even thinking about it, you're not engaging your mind, and then your mind turns to mush anyway. So.
And why did God have to have heaven when He created an angel who fell from heaven? Mm-hmm. And good isn't known as good until you have something to compare it to.
Yeah.
So would you even know you're in heaven unless you knew?
That's a good point. How would you know if it's always good? Carl's one of our friends here. So he says you're conceding that suffering and harm makes life desirable. Yeah. Carl?
I don't wait. I don't necessarily think that we're saying that.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we're saying that part of the overall life experience and the pleasure, like to Jose's point, the pleasure we get in life is the overcoming and the contrast. Let's put it that way. The contrast to the bad, right? My life is good as I sit here in my 3-bedroom apartment in Chicago compared to the guy who's living on a street, right? My life is very good because I can see how bad that would be. I'm very happy with my life, right? But if I had zero understanding that someone lives on the street and this was the only thing I knew was this type of environment, it's not really pleasurable. It just is, right? There's no highs or lows for me to compare to. Yeah. So I'm not. I think where you're going with that.
Suffering and heart doesn't make it desirable, but I do think it makes life recognizable.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Larry. Okay. I mean, we'll go with that. I would agree with that. I mean, because I think that we all understand that with life, there's going to be things that we overcome, right?
Yeah.
There's going to be rain's going to fall. It's not going to be sunny always. Arthur knows this. There's a favorite gospel song of mine called "Be Grateful," and it starts that God has not given us sunshine, but a little rain. That's just the way that it's going to be. But a little pain, and even the words are kind of drastic and funky, but it still definitely describes that in life. We understand that there's going to be some things that's not going to be very desirable. We're going to experience some hardships. We're going to experience some pain. There's going to be some things that's going to happen that are not necessarily something that we desire. But, we also know that that's not all what life is. There are going to be some joys. There's going to be some victories. There's going to be some things that we can say that we completely appreciate. And I can definitely say that I appreciate being in my home with a roof over my head that's intact. I have food in my refrigerator. My lights are on. My bills are paid. And I am employed, right? So since all those things are a thing, I'm grateful for that. But, I understand that there are people who happen to exist that is not the narrative for them. So, in that particular aspect, I am saying that I'm grateful for the things that I have at this particular point in my life. But I don't necessarily need heaven to be the scapegoat for me to say that I'm so tired of life that I can't deal with it right now.
Yeah.
That's the place that I really need to go.
That fixer sort of thing, like something's going wrong and heaven's going to fix it all. I've also, something else I've noticed, and this is just an aside. I was thinking about this the other day. In America, I don't know how this is in other countries. And John, maybe you'll have a perspective on it because you came from a different country. In America, we tend to think of heaven, or the way it's portrayed is the streets are gold and you'll get a mansion. It's very capitalistic and sort of materialistic in heaven. Do you ever think about that? I mean, everything is exactly what we think of we would want if we were rich. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's how it's perceived in other cultures. I really just don't know. But that streets of gold and you'll have a mansion. That I've heard those things said.
No, the best selling point is that you don't age. That's the only thing I really like about heaven. You don't age. I would be jealous of that. Like,
what if you die when you're 96?
Yeah, what if you die
old.
when you're 98?
Damn it! I wanted to go back when
you
I was
will
30.
regress back to 20.
Yeah, when I was young and hot.
For that part, I'm jealous. Okay.
Yeah. Well, okay, sure. That could be.
That's the 1 point.
Especially as I look at my oh man, dude, when did I turn 50 something? Those bags of mine are killing me. Hey, thanks for tuning in to today's show. I really hope you enjoyed it. Do me a favor and like and subscribe to the show and tell a friend. That helps us grow and it lets us keep bringing you more voices from the other side of belief. Until we talk again, be kind to one another and remember that reason and compassion go a long way.